I got home early, and my girlfriend wasn't alone in our bedroom. I got home earlier than usual that day. Normally, I would stroll in around 7 in the evening, but today, an unexpected early finish at work had left me with a peculiar sense of excitement. Maybe it was the thought of a quiet evening, maybe just the simple joy of seeing her sooner than planned. Whatever it was, I didn't think twice about unlocking the door and stepping inside. The apartment was unusually quiet. That silence should have been comforting, but instead, it felt off. I shrugged it off, thinking she was probably just in her own world, maybe reading or playing music. I dropped my bag by the entrance, kicked off my shoes, and headed toward our bedroom. And then I saw it. The door was slightly ajar, and the dim light spilling out from the room wasn't the soft, warm glow of our usual lamp. No, it was harsher, more direct, and it cast shadows and angles that didn't seem familiar. My heart started to race, but I told myself to stay calm. Maybe she had friends over. Maybe someone was just sitting on the bed chatting. I pushed the door gently, enough to peek inside without announcing my presence. What I saw made my stomach drop and my vision blur for a moment. There was someone else in our bedroom, someone who shouldn't have been there. I froze, my mind scrambling to process what was happening. She was there, yes, but she wasn't alone. The scene before me was surreal, like a snapshot from someone else's life rather than my own. My chest tightened, and I could feel the blood rushing in my ears. I didn't scream, I didn't storm in. I couldn't. I was rooted to the spot, trying to convince myself that I was seeing things, that maybe it was some misunderstanding. But the details were clear, too clear. The laughter, the way he leaned in closer, the familiarity that should have been mine, it all screamed betrayal. It felt like hours before I even realized I had moved, before I even knew what I was going to do next. I retreated silently, closed the door as carefully as I had opened it, and leaned against the wall in the hallway. My hands were trembling. My mind was a whirlwind of emotions. Shock, anger, disbelief, hurt. It was the kind of moment you never prepare for, the kind that splits your life into a before and an after. I don't even remember how I made it to the couch. Maybe it was autopilot. Maybe I was in shock. I just sat there, staring at the floor, trying to make sense of everything. Questions bombarded me faster than I can answer them. How long? How often? Did she even care if I came home early? Could this be some terrible misunderstanding? I knew I needed answers, but my first instinct was to escape, to breathe, to find a moment of clarity before confronting her. The apartment suddenly felt suffocating, every shadow a reminder of what I had seen. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and tried to steady my trembling hands, but nothing could steady the storm inside me. Eventually she came out. Her face, when she saw me, shifted through a range of emotions. Surprise, guilt, panic. I didn't speak immediately. I just watched her, trying to reconcile the person I thought I knew with the scene I just witnessed. She opened her mouth, started to explain, but no words could match the whirlwind of thoughts in my head. What is going on? I finally managed, my voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated, and in that pause, my mind raced even faster. Every possible scenario played out. Excuses, apologies, denials, confessions. I had imagined confrontation 1,000 times in my head, but none of them felt adequate for the shock I was experiencing now. She started talking, stumbling over words, trying to explain. I listened, but part of me had already retreated, already braced for the inevitable. The person who had been laughing and leaning in moments before wasn't just a stranger. He was the symbol of a breach, of trust broken in the most intimate space we shared. The rest of the evening was a blur. Conversations that should have been simple were tangled with tension. Anger bubbled beneath the surface, mingled with a deep, aching sadness. I realized then that nothing would ever feel the same again. Not the apartment, not the way I looked at her, not even the idea of coming home early. Coming home early was supposed to be a pleasant surprise. Instead, it became the moment everything I thought I knew was shattered. And even as the sun rose, I realized that my life, our life, would never be the same.